Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been a minute, so long that I have a new setting here. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should, because you would know where I am, that I moved and all the things. I'm consistently over there, not here. So make sure you follow me over there if you want to keep up with things. But yeah, I did a thing that you may have not known either if you didn't follow me on Instagram. I went on a filmed blind date. Sounds crazy, right? Yeah, I did it for this series called Dating Different, which is on the Truly YouTube channel. They also have it on Snapchat, and I think they post it on Facebook. So yeah, I'll link that below if you have not seen it. I recommend watching that before maybe you see this, because you might be confused at what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm gonna just talk about like leading up to the day, like how did I get on that, how did that happen, and then what it was like filming it that day compared to like what I saw after it was edited, if that makes sense. Because I was interested, like before I did this stuff, like how does this all work? Like even if I never wanted to do one of these things or never was offered this, I'm still just, as a person, I'm always curious, like how does this stuff kind of work? And that's why I want to make this video for anyone who is also curious about that, which maybe it's no one, maybe that's just me. But yeah, that's what this video is. So I'm gonna start from the beginning, or before, I should say, before the day actually happened. So how did I get on? I was emailed by someone who works on this show, and they asked me if I was interested, and I said yes, because I'd actually seen it before. I think the first episode ever of the series was a girl with alopecia. And I saw that, and I thought it was really cool, and I was curious myself, like, how did she get on that? Like, I would want to do that. That seems kind of cool. And then that's what happened. I guess that's how you get on, guys. You just get emailed. I don't know if that's what everyone gets on this, but for me, that's what it was. Someone emailed me about it. I'm assuming they found me through Instagram. And yeah, I set up an interview, and basically it was a very informal interview. She was super nice, and they kind of asked me questions about my story. They asked me about things I look for in a guy, because the next step after that was that if they wanted me on the show, that they were going to find me my date. Basically was like a week until I found out that I was going to be on it, and then after that it kept getting pushed back a little bit. It was like maybe a month or so after I knew I was going to be on it, maybe a little more than a month, that we finally found a day that it could all work and do the filming. So the day of filming is what we're going to talk about next. So the day of filming was a lot longer than I thought it would be. I guess I'm naive. I assumed that this was only going to be like a 3-hour thing. I don't really know what I thought. Then I got the schedule for it, and we started at 8 a.m. and I was like, oh my. And on the schedule it said we ended at 5, and I was like, oh my. And as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing maybe it sounds super boring, so I hope this is not boring for anyone. But yeah, so filming was pretty much all day. We ended a little bit earlier than 5, but what happens first is they film me at my apartment getting ready, pre-interviews. They do some of those shots you see, like sitting on my bed, like that kind of thing. And as you saw, my friends came. Shout out to them for coming to help me. And I'm really happy that they allowed my friends to come, like, because it would have been lonely doing without them, and like not as fun. It was so cool to be able to experience it all with them. So I'll talk about a little bit what didn't make it into the version from that part of the day, which is a lot. As you can tell, the video is only like 6 minutes, and I just told you that we filmed literally the most of the day. So a lot does not make it in. There was an interview with my friends that didn't get in. There was a lot of stuff I talked about while I was doing my makeup that didn't get in. Obviously a lot of questions from my just sit down interview did not get in. So much. Like I talked a lot when I was doing my eyeliner, and you can imagine that's really hard to have someone ask you questions while you're trying to focus on getting that perfect wing. Oh, difficult. I felt like I was shaking. I felt like I was stuttering my words. Like it was hard to talk and do that at the same time. I talked a lot about how I don't like wearing wigs, why that is. I've never worn wigs. I talked about that. I talked about my first time ever putting fake lashes on, how that was like a big confidence. I gave them all these good stories that I thought would make it in. They didn't get in. They really put like 2 seconds to be getting ready. So after that whole part, we head to the spot where we were doing the date, which was a bar. And me and my friends and the camera people, we went separately. So yeah, that was the portion at my apartment. Now we're moving to the date spot. So once we got to the bar, we had a bit of a break, ate lunch. There's some shots that I had to do, like walking in, sitting down at the table, pretending I'm waiting for him when he was not there yet. Like they're like the whole waiting scenes that they're pretty funny. Like they make it look like I'm sitting there like waiting, where it really was like I was like eating food, and they're like, "Can we get the shot real quick? Like tap your foot, move your hands. Okay, go ahead, go back eat lunch again." Like there was just like things like that where with the way they edit it makes it look different, which is funny experiencing it than seeing it. And then when he got there, he had to do his own pre-interview thing. And then basically from there, it was like, okay, Allison, sit in this chair. He's going to count to 20 and then he's going to walk in. So that part is probably the most nerve-wracking when you're like, I could see like the back of his head at that point because like the doors were glass and he's counting to 20 and I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, okay, this is actually happening now. And then he walked in and that started. The big thing of the video started. And I think that's when I got the most nervous. Like the first few minutes of meeting, I was like, oh wow, I'm being filmed right now and I'm on a date. And I like did not remember his name at all. And we had to do that intro a couple of times. And then he went to the bathroom and I realized I could not remember his name for the life of me. And so I asked from the camera guys, like quietly, hopefully he didn't hear me because that's embarrassing. I was so like caught up in the moment and like what's going on that I totally cannot remember his name, even though we introduced each other multiple times. So that's fun. After that, we obviously had our date, which shockingly was way less awkward than I expected. Now, I will say, I saw some comments, and I'm going to get a little more into the comments later, but some of the comments were saying how I looked like a nervous talker or I was doing all the talking, and let me tell you, that is just not the truth. Well, I might have been a nervous talker, but like, one, a date is already nerve-wracking, and two, you're being filmed on a date, so like, don't tell me you wouldn't be nervous too. But the thing is, we were both talkers, I would say. Like, there was no awkward silence. We were both going. And there was so much about him that he talked about that was totally cut. Because it was about me, but like, when I say like he talked a lot, there was no silence really at all. And beforehand, that was the part I was most scared about. I thought there was gonna be weird, awkward silences. It was gonna be hard to keep it going. I asked my friends beforehand, I was like, give me some questions I can ask, like keep a mental note. So like when it gets weird, like I can just have stuff I can go off of. But it never did, and it almost was the opposite. Like we were talking about so much that when it got to the part where I had to talk about alopecia, because obviously that's like the main part, I had to like backtrack a little because obviously that's what they asked me to do. Another fun fact, they asked me not to talk about it in the first part of the date. They asked me to talk about it after like the mid bathroom break interview. So it was kind of difficult to like fit it back in afterwards because in my mind, after our mid-date interview, I was gonna go back and bring it up because they kind of told me, they were like, okay, we have to bring it up now. He doesn't want to bring it up, so like say something. So I was just gonna sit down and start it with that. But the thing is, we were talking about so many things and they kind of interrupted us in the middle of some topic when we had to do our bathroom break, which it is a bathroom break if we have to go to the bathroom, but like it's really mainly for the interviews. And so when I sat down, I was just gonna go, but he immediately started talking and I was like, damn, now I have to awkwardly backtrack and bring it up somehow. And I did relate it back to something we were talking about in the beginning of the date, which didn't make it in. It was stuff about high school and self-esteem and stuff. And I felt bad. I kind of had to cut off what he was talking about and go back because they were gonna stop anyway and tell me to bring it up. And that's why when you see me bring it up in the video, you hear me going like, so do you know, like it looks awkward when I'm bringing it up because I had to like stop us in the mid of a different conversation and like reroute. And it was difficult to figure out the words to make it flow at that point because we're not talking about that. And that's why it came off awkward. So for all the people saying that I look nervous and I'm a nervous talker and I was the only one talking, there you go. So, as I said, there was no awkward silence at all. We talked about a lot of things. A lot of it wasn't there. Like, this date was it was maybe an hour to 2 hours of us just straight talking. So, obviously, you're seeing 2-3 minutes of our date. Like, it's just not all gonna get in there. And so, yeah, after the date ends, we did our, like, ending date scenes, like us walking on the street together, shots with us sitting together, just that kind of thing. And then we were done. What I do want to address, I have obviously just brought up the comments about me being nervous and being a fast talker, and I was talking more than him and all those kinds of things. If you do follow my Instagram, you know that I made a video, a pretty vulnerable video of another comment I got, which has since been edited by the person who made it, because obviously he was getting a bit of backlash from it because of the way it was worded. But at that point, it's a little late. Like, you said what you said, you showed your colors a little bit. But it basically was about me being 3 times prettier. Like, we need to admit that I would be 3 times prettier with hair or if I wore a wig. So it was along those lines. You can go on my Instagram and see that video if you want to know more about what I'm talking about. But other than that comment, obviously there's the comments like, just put a wig on, wear a wig. Oh, the hair doesn't bother me, but like the no eyebrows, that bothers me. And at first those comments don't bother you. And then after a little bit, when you keep seeing them, it's like, it gets to you. And I just want people to know. The reason I posted the video about that one comment and me getting like kind of emotional about it is I just want people to know that it's not, I sometimes make it look like I'm happy about my hair loss and that I found peace with it and all that kind of thing, which I have, but we are human beings, and so we are still going to feel those emotions sometimes. Like, those comments are going to get to me sometimes, and that's totally fine. Like, these journeys are not linear. Like, that's why I don't like saying confidence is like some achievable destination. Like, confidence is truly a journey, and I definitely talked about that in my interview too, and they cut that part out. I talked about that while I was getting ready. But yeah, so to all the people that are making comments about that, no, that's all I have to say. No, I'm not gonna wear a wig. No, I don't need eyebrows. No, I would not be 3 times prettier with a wig or with hair. Just no, that's just wrong. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I know that there is other questions people have about the date, like things that happened afterwards. And all I'm really gonna say is I only wanted this video to be about before the day and that day itself. I don't really want to talk about other people for them. But yeah, I hope this video was interesting. I hope you got some more insight to like what went on versus what was shown. If you have questions about it, leave them below or ask me on Instagram. And yeah, as always, be true, be you. See you next time.